What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my Friday Night SmackDown audio review for June 2nd, 2023. I am Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great weekend. This was the first show, actually, first major wrestling show to fall on my birthday in quite some time. My birthday, obviously, being yesterday, I was able to catch up on the show a little bit later on in the night, which worked out well because this show was filled with fucking video packages. The full 2 hours I probably got through in an hour or less. And that might be being generous. I think I watched it on a different platform, so like the DVR worked a little bit differently. Typically, I can catch this shit in like 45 minutes or less because I watch all the matches too. I skip through the entrances, I skip through the commercials, and I skip through the video packages, all of which I've seen a million times. Especially with this being the Roman Reigns celebration episode. They did a lot of flashbacks to other moments during his reign of 1,000 days, which we will get to later on. And they were all very well done, but it's shit I've seen a million times. So it was a pretty missable show, honestly, aside from the Roman Reigns stuff. I like the show. Very skippable show, though. But yeah, I think the first major wrestling show to fall on my birthday, I think in about 6 or 7 years. Because like the last couple of years, my birthday fell either on a Thursday or a Tuesday, and that was back when NXT wasn't on Tuesdays, so it's like it didn't fall, like there was nothing really going on that night. I think Impact might have aired that night. No Dynamite 2 years ago. My birthday was on a Wednesday. No Dynamite that night. It was one of the rare days where Dynamite was preempted to like a Tuesday or a Thursday or whatever, or a Saturday, I think. That happened. It did not fall on a Monday a few years ago because of the leap year. So it was on a Sunday. It was on a Saturday. It was on a Friday. None of those days had wrestling. So the last day I think that had wrestling on my birthday and being a major show was SmackDown, actually, back in 2016. And that was a quality show, as was this one. Again, very skippable, though. Had some good moments, some very forgettable matches and moments. Overall, a decent show, really only made must-see by that final segment. So let's get into it. We opened up the episode 6-man tag team action. Austin Theory, the United States champion, and Pretty Deadly teaming up to take on and beat the trio of Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch, the Brawling Brutes. Quality 6-man tag team match here, really nothing out of the ordinary, but it was well wrestled, got good time, the heels went over as they should have. I'm honestly more impressed at this point by Pretty Deadly, and hopefully they can get over, than I am Austin Theory. Pretty Deadly, by the way, getting new entrance music. I actually like the song that they debuted, 2 weeks ago when they had their first match on the show against Brawling Brutes. I like that song. It's the same song now, but they've added lyrics. It sounds like a fucking ABBA song, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe the song will grow on me, but the last song just gave me like FTR vibes, and I really, really liked it. I don't know why they already changed it, but whatever. With Theory, it's just, there's really, and I'm a Theory guy, I like Theory. There's nothing there worth getting excited about right now. He's been the champion for like 6 or 7 months, but you would never know it. I mean, he has no meaningful wins. He's beaten a lot of, notable names, but not in impressive fashion. He's just doing a whole lot of nothing right now. He did win this match, but I felt like this was more about furthering the momentum for Pretty Deadly than it was getting any real heat on Austin Theory. The OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, who have the greatest gig in the world, really getting paid to do nothing. They've had all of 1 or 2 matches in like the last 6 months, despite coming back for a lot of money to the WWE. And that has not been officially disclosed by the company, but you got to imagine they were brought back to a lot of fucking money. Them beating Hit Row here, Top Dollar and Ashanti the Adonis, pretty nothing match. They set this up all day in social media. That's why the match happened. Just gave the OC a win to get them on the show. That was about it. AJ Styles on SmackDown on his birthday. Pretty easy birthday. He didn't win here. I was going to say pretty easy birthday gig for him here. Didn't wrestle. Just came and did a phenomenal forum on Top Dollar afterward, and that was about it. So easy win for them. Very forgettable match. We had the Grayson Waller Effect, which I was looking forward to with a mystery guest. But it ended up being Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion. But like this was, again, a very lame segment. She was quickly interrupted, and she was out there rambling in Japanese. And again, as I've said before, it's not the fact that she's talking in Japanese, but they do this thing with Asuka where she's just out there screaming in Japanese, and it doesn't elicit heat. People just don't know what the fuck to make of it. They had Io Sky do something similar when she came out, and that was the only saving grace of this entire segment, by the way. Io Sky coming out, interrupting Asuka, planting the seeds, hopefully, fingers crossed, for a championship match. And I can't say Raw or SmackDown Women's title because the Raw Women's title is still on SmackDown. I don't know if it will be by August. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. They fixed the Roman Reigns problem kind of later on in the show by having him come out with 2 belts and that whole thing. They did address and fix that later on. The Raw and SmackDown women's titles are still flip-flopped on the other show. So they got to fix that soon. But Grayson Waller really served no purpose here at all. He did not do much of anything. All the women in the SmackDown women's division came out, talked over each other. You had Lacey Evans out there, Shotzi, Bayley, Io, fucking Zelina came out. The entire women's division all talking about how they want and need to be in Money in the Bank. And that set up a brawl. That set up Vega and Lacey Evans, which was already announced for the show a week ago. And a women's Money in the Bank qualifier coming out of the commercial break. Lacey Evans hit Vega during the commercial break, so they kind of teased that, Vega might not be able to win the match. She did, thankfully. Not a very good match, but the match was whatever. At least the right woman won. Vega, I honestly would not have cared about being in Money in the Bank a year or two ago. She was in Money in the Bank 2 years ago, and I just didn't care. Not because she's bad, but it's like at that point she wasn't really a wrestler. She was more of a manager, and she kind of still is now, but she's improved and she's gotten over as a babyface as part of LWO. She had that great match with Rhea at Backlash. I'm all for her being in Money in the Bank. She won't win, but I'm all for her being in it, especially over Lacey fucking Evans. The fact that this woman is even still on the show is mind-boggling to me. The gimmick sucks. She's really not that great in the ring. The promos are terrible. She came out wearing a fucking military hat. I don't know. She looked ridiculous. And I know that's part of who she is in reality, but they've started and stopped. They have started and stopped so many times with Lacey Evans, it's hard to care. And the fact she was even in the qualifier is comical. Vega won. That was really all there is to say about this. The men's Money in the Bank qualifier, LA Knight, thank the fuck God, beating Montez Ford. Nothing against Montez Ford. I actually wanted him in the match as well. I don't know why both men can't be in the match, but they only had one qualify, and it was LA Knight. He was the better fit. He has a better chance of winning. I'm not convinced he is winning. I mean, based on who we have in there so far, I don't think Nakamura is winning. Been there, done that. Ricochet, give me a break. So far, he is the odds-on favorite. We have a couple more qualifiers next week. I think they announced all 4 qualifiers, the remaining qualifiers for the men and women next week. It's going to be Shotzi and Io Sky. I mean, just give the win to Io Sky. You have Bayley and... It's not Bayley and Shotzi, right? I think it's Bayley and Michin. So they're going to be competing. That's honestly the only semi-unpredictable match of the 4. I mean, all 4 of these matches are extremely predictable. Io's beating Shotzi as she should. Bayley will beat Michin as she probably should. Have Bayley and Io in the same match. And then the men's qualifiers for next week are Baron Corbin and Santos Escobar, I believe. So Corbin coming back to SmackDown, even though we heard from Grimes here on SmackDown saying he wants his hands on Corbin. Corbin's a free agent. Next time we'll see him is on NXT. Grimes ain't done with Corbin. Corbin's in a match next week with Santos Escobar. Easy win for Escobar. Keep Corbin, please, in NXT. That's all I ask. And then the other one was Mustafa Ali. Again, another star currently in NXT. Why the fuck he's in a qualifier? I like Ali. I like Corbin, but it's like these guys have not won matches, meaningful matches in forever. I don't understand why they're even in qualifiers. The SmackDown really have no fucking people? I mean, this makes no sense. Ali's going to be in there with Butch. So that should be an interesting matchup as well. The main segment on the show, the real attraction, was the Roman Reigns Championship celebration. 2 questions right off the bat. I don't know to answer these 2 questions. I don't know what the championship is called. The Undisputed WWE Universal title. I don't know if it's just the Undisputed WWE Championship. I don't know if it's the Undisputed WWE Universal title. I don't know if it's the WWE Championship. I have no fucking clue. They didn't really make that clear. I also don't really know what lineage this championship is supposed to carry. And honestly, there's issues with it either way. This is the problem they've had for a year now and why they should not have merged the titles. If you carry the WWE title lineage, you end the 1,000-day reign of Roman Reigns. That is a singular reign that is over. It's not the same belt. If you vacate a championship, that does not continue the reign of that retired title. Fucking Jericho, whoever retired, like is Nikki Cross still the 24/7 champion because she retired the title in November? I mean, that's ridiculous. I know you could say, they merged the titles, it's still the same championship. It's not. You have to carry one lineage. You can't continue both lineages if it's just one championship. That's probably why they had Roman Reigns carrying both belts for a fucking year plus, because they didn't want to end either lineage. This is why they should have had Cody Rhodes win a WrestleMania. I mean, I can't stress that enough. If Cody Rhodes won a WrestleMania, you could have given Cody Rhodes the World Heavyweight title and then vacated the WWE Championship or whatever the fuck, given Cody Rhodes the WWE Championship. He ends the Universal title, and you still give Raw the World Heavyweight Championship. This is not difficult. And they fucked that whole thing up. Just makes no fucking sense, man. It makes no fucking sense. But if you keep the Universal Championship legacy, you end over 60 years of the WWE title. Again, ridiculous. They haven't made that clear. They don't typically make this stuff clear because they just don't care, but I hope they will. The segment itself, so he has a new belt. He has one championship belt. That's why I mention all of that, because that was the whole point of the segment, and it teased tension within the bloodline. The new belt, I'm going to be honest with you, personally, and there's no right or wrong opinion here, I think the belt sucks. I'm not a fan of the title. I think it does not look good. I think the yellow in it looks ugly. Everyone's saying, oh, it's just what it looks like in the light. I've seen it without the light, and it still looks fucking ugly to me. It doesn't look like it's gold. Maybe it's gold. I don't know. It looked like yellow mustard to me. I think the color is ugly. The design itself I like. I'm honestly among the few people who do not mind the design. The problem is that they've had that design for a fucking decade now. It's time to change. They've had a lot of different designs in the last 50 or 60 years, and if you're saying, well, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, there were a lot of other designs that were far superior to the one that they have now, and they changed it because you got to change it at some point. You can't have the same belt design for 20 years. They really should have used this opportunity to change the title belt. I don't even mind the design, but they not only kept the design, but they somehow made it fucking worse. It's better than the blueberry belt, yes, but the interior color is still silly. Yellow? I mean, what the fuck is this? I mean, honestly, just keep the WWE title at that point. Just keep the WWE title. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. It looks fucking dumb. I know people are saying, oh, you can't change the belt too much. You got to give it out to the sports teams and stuff when they win the World Series and shit. I get it. You could have come up with the new belt to give the sports teams with the fucking logo on it, like the World Heavyweight Championship has the fucking logo on it, but it looks like a cool title. I mean, that to me is the perfect example. They have a World Heavyweight Championship now, and it has the logo in the middle, so it's still promoting the company, but it's a nice-looking title. That is a good redesign of a classic championship. And even if you want to do something entirely new, you can figure out how to put the title in the middle without making it look fucking ugly. And this, to me, it looks ugly. If you like it, that's cool. I mean, it seems pretty 50-50 as far as people who like it and people who don't. I think it looks ugly, but that's just me. After all of that, though, you had Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso teasing tension. Solo seemed to acknowledge Roman Reigns before jumping over to Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso as well. And it seemed like Solo and the Usos, all three brothers, were aligned against Roman before Roman hugged Jimmy, looked over, glanced over at Solo, who then Samoan spiked Jimmy Uso. Roman and Solo leading an attack on Jimmy. Jey conflicted, did not join in. He didn't really know what to do. But this was great. I thought this was a great progression of the story. You hear Roman Reigns afterwards say, because Solo or Heyman said, I think to Roman, what about Jey? And Roman said, well, Jey will do what he always does best. He will fall in line. So the real question is here, will Jey fall in line? I don't think the answer is yes. I think he should not rejoin the Bloodline. I think it should be the Usos against Roman and Solo at Money in the Bank. The problem with that, though, and I think we should get Roman and Jimmy at some point. The problem with that, though, is that if you have that tag team match at the pay-per-view, the championship again goes another month without being defended. That is fucking dumb. We would have gone 4 full months without a single championship defense for this supposed historic reign. And I'm all on board with this reign of Roman Reigns being outstanding. But to go 4 fucking months without a defense is ridiculous. That is awful. I don't think we've ever had a world champion in this company, ever, that went 4 months without a single fucking defense. Even when Brock Lesnar was champion. There were plenty of pay-per-views where Brock Lesnar was champion. Maybe in 2014, I think. Didn't Brock have a championship? I'm pretty sure Brock, he won the title in August. He retained it against Cena at Night of Champions, and I don't think he defended it again until the Rumble. So that would have been about 4 months, from September to January. I'd have to check the exact amount of days on that, though. I mean, that's also just terrible. And you have 2 titles now, I get it, but I still think the Usos against Roman and Solo will close on Money in the Bank. I doubt the World Heavyweight Championship matches, which were by the way, on Raw this week, which I will be at in Hartford. We're getting a World Heavyweight Championship Open Challenge. Seth Rollins, and accepting the call, answering the Open Challenge, Damian Priest. Sounds like a great match. The only problem is I would have rather seen that at the pay-per-view. I'll be there on Monday. But that sounds like, to me, more of a pay-per-view program than it is a Raw match. I mean, it should be a pay-per-view program is my thing. Are we getting Finn and Rollins at Money in the Bank? I don't give a shit about that. We've seen Finn in that spot a million times. He's not going to fucking win. Who cares? Will Damian win? No, but he's at least a fresh face in that spot on pay-per-view. Anyway, this was a very missable show. I enjoyed the show. I'm very glad LA Knight's in Money in the Bank. Thank fucking God. Will he win? Probably not. He and Ford had a good match. That was the best match on the show. Vega and Evans sucked. Right Woman won, though. Grayson Waller Effect sucked. OC and Hit Row was not a good match. The opening match was solid. Again, the only thing really worth watching from this show was the main event. Knight and Ford was also a quality match. But I think the best thing on the show, far and away, was the final 30 minutes with the Roman Reigns celebration and whatnot. That stuff was well done. The rest of the show can easily be skipped. And I typically enjoy SmackDown. This was not a bad show. I did not feel like I wasted my time on my birthday watching this. But it was not an overly eventful show outside of what happened in the final 30 minutes in the Money in the Bank qualifiers. Thank you guys for checking out my review of the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. My SmackDown Lowdown review should be up at some point tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Have an awesome one, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.